Moms for Liberty really worked miracles.
We have a crisis in America in public education. This is the future of our kids and our country.
You are joyful warriors.
And we are just getting started. Welcome to the Fire of Liberty show, a show where we bring you moms and dads from the front lines of this culture war that we are fighting in the United States of America. I'm Tina Deskovich, CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. And today we have Emily with us from Madison County, Alabama. She is our chapter chair there. And Emily has got a great story. As I was talking to her earlier, what we realized is she's got a whole series of God winks. Yep, is what I like to call them, that has brought her to become an activist in this parental rights movement and a chapter chair of Moms for Liberty. So I really want to explore that with you today, Emily. Welcome to Florida.
Yes, thank you. It's not as humid here as it is in Alabama, so it's been nice.
Yeah, I actually lived in Mobile, Alabama for 1 year, and I will say it is the hottest place on earth. People say Florida is hot, but Alabama is 100 times hotter.
It's a different heat there for sure.
And right there on the Gulf,
Yes.
in the water. I just remember 4th of July sitting in Fairhope, Alabama on the banks watching fireworks, and I have never, clothes were drenched. There's no escaping it.
Yes, it's rough.
It's something
Florida's
else.
an ice break.
Well, welcome to Florida. And you tried to get here for the podcast like a month ago. We had you scheduled and your flight got canceled. And so
I'm here.
Yeah, it's
Fully together.
It's great. We're glad to have you. All right. So I want to start off by, you had told me there was a book that kind of sparked your transition from ordinary mom, professional to activist. And so tell me about that book.
Yep. So it's the book by Eric Metaxas called Letter to the American Church. And honestly, I'd never heard of Eric Metaxas. I don't know how I even learned about the book. I blame Charlie Kirk. I don't know. Maybe he talked about it. I don't know. But I got it. It's a book that talks about where we are today as society and as a church in the parallels of that with Germany in 1930, which seems like an extraordinary comparison. And I really didn't believe any of it until I read the book. And it really it talks about the silence of the church in 1930 and where we are today and the silence of the church dealing with all of these woke ideologies, the attacks on the family, the attack on children and all of that. And I mean, it opened my eyes to realize that this is real. Like we are in 1930 all over again with the silence of the church. And it really made me question a lot where I was in church at that time, what they were doing and not doing. And it forced me to have some uncomfortable conversations with my pastor, which is a very dear family friend of ours. He christened all 3 of my brother's kids. So very, very close. And I mean, it was a nice conversation, but at the end of the day, it was, we're not ready. We're not ready to take on these topics. And after reading that book and knowing, what's going on in our society, I thought, how can you not be ready? How can you sit silently and allow kids to think that they're born in the wrong body and not give them the message of you were made in God's image. You're perfect the way you are. So it was eye-opening and disheartening, but motivating at the same time. So it was a good, sad, but good point in life.
I would say it's been shocking to a lot of people to see churches be cowardly at a time when we need them to be bold. And anyone that's studied American history knows that the churches, or during the Revolution, the pastors were the ones that came out and protected their land and kind of led the charge in a lot of instances in a lot of small towns for the Revolutionary War and the things pushing back against the British and things that were unfair and not right. And so to watch the churches in America be silent on so many very important issues, including, like you said, transitioning children, the basic biblical principles of God created man and woman are under direct attack right now in America, and they're targeting our children. And for the church to be silent is astonishing, I would say.
And it's a choice. They're making an active choice in doing it. So it's rough, but we know where we are. So kind of move forward.
Yeah. And it shakes your faith. I would think some people, it would shake your faith. It would make you second guess. Good thing you went to your pastor and tried to have the conversations with him. We don't have to dig into that since he's a personal friend. We don't want to put that out for all of social media to know, but that was courageous of you, I think, to address. And so you got this book.
Yep.
And it changed your view of what was going on in America. And you decided that, like, what made you, so you read it, and then you're not the church, right?
Yeah,
You're not
right.
a pastor. You don't have a church that you can redirect. So what went on in your mind at that point?
Yeah. So at the end of the book, it's last 2 pages. I'm one of those people that I write and highlight my book. I highlight important passages. In the last 2 pages, I literally highlighted every single thing, and I wrote a post-it on it, and I said, read this every single day.
What's it say? I haven't read the book. So what does it say?
It's nutshell. It says basically, you are created for this moment. The God of the universe put you into existence in this moment, in this time, and he did it for a purpose. And what a failure, what an absolute loss if you choose to not take advantage of that. He put you here now for something. And if you sit silent, you're missing out. And that was just kind of the moment of like, okay, like God's leading me somewhere. I have no idea where, but we'll figure it out. This was in the middle of COVID and all the craziness that's going on. And a friend of mine, we both work in the same industry, very impacted directly with COVID mandates. And we both are big fans of Steve Bannon. And we were talking one day about, I don't know, something random that Steve Bannon was talking about that day. And we had heard about Moms for Liberty, and we're talking about ways to fight back, ways to protect our kids, ways to protect our rights as employees, and didn't know how to do that, and randomly thought, well, let's just start a Moms for Liberty chapter, because that's what normal people do, right? Like, they just.
How did you hear about Moms for Liberty at that point?
Steve Bannon. I mean, really, like, I had not even gone out to the website. I had heard Tiffany on Steve Bannon, and that was it. We had just heard her talking about it, and it was forced vaccines at that point. It was really what we were dealing with. We were having the mask issues, and we were both just concerned, like, well, what happens when they start mandating vaccines for kids to go to school? Like, that was the line in the sand. And we had heard Moms for Liberty. We knew they were fighting back, and it's just like the normal thing to do is just to start a grassroots activist organization. Like, why not? Like, let's just do that. So,
were you political at that point?
No.
Up to then?
No, I did not even vote in 2016. I think I voted in 2012 for Obama. Yeah, like
you're not the first person to come on. I think this is episode 13 of the Fire of Liberty show, and you are not the first person to say you voted for Obama.
I don't even think talked about it. I don't hear Alex.
I don't think you're the second or third person to say you voted for Obama. And
I fell for the line of be a part of history, like hook, line, and sinker. I did it, and boy, did I make history with that vote.
That's amazing. And so barely politically active, even as a voter. And then you decide to start a Moms for Liberty chapter.
Because it's normal, right?
Yeah, totally. I think so. Absolutely. So good for you. And so I think you said, what was that like for you? So you start a chapter, you're not really politically active, but things are bothering you. You've read this book. And so
it was uncomfortable. I mean, really, it was.
That's a good word to describe it. I would say most people that launch a Moms for Liberty chapter are uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you have no idea what you're doing. And like so many people, and moms especially, don't want to be that mom. They don't want to be the one that's, ruffling feathers and asking questions and all of that. And I have family members that are in public education, wonderful people. So a lot of the people I'm dealing with through Moms for Liberty in my county are friends with family members. So it just adds to the complexity.
I would say most are that way. I mean, schools are meant to be local.
That's true.
And a lot of times you're friends with the teachers or you're older. Even heck, my last son, my 24-year-old, when he was in high school, had some of the same teachers I had. They were still there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were starting their career when I was in high school. And so it's a close community.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to stand up and be the rabble rouser and shake ruffle feathers when it's your close community.
And it's a red state. I mean, that's part of the challenge is it's a red state. People think that none of these issues are there. So when I'm raising questions, it's really, there's no problem here. We're in Alabama. None of that's here.
I go to church with Mrs. Smith.
Yes,
like she would
all
never
the time.
teach that,
Yes,
all of those things.
I grew up with her son, there's all the things.
Yeah.
So it just added to the complexity of asking questions. And so it was just extra uncomfortable. And we were the first one in the state. So no one knew.
Yeah. So you start that chapter and, some people started a chapter during that time period and hundreds of people turn out for their first chapter meeting. Was your chapter like that from the start?
No. We had, I think, I think we did have 10 people at our first meeting.
Excellent. Well, you had
so
to
it wasn't bad.
back then. You had to have 10 people to start a chapter, I
That's
believe.
probably how we got our 10.
Yeah. We're like, nope, you can't start unless you have 10. We wanted
Yes.
you to prove that
Yes.
it wasn't just the
Yep.
sole person. Now we've
Yep.
dropped that to 5.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if you knew that.
I did not
So
know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, if you want to start a chapter
There.
of Moms for Liberty, you just need 5 people.
It's
And
easy,
so-
but you can easily get 5 people together. You can.
totally. And so
doable.
you found your 10 and you
Found
had
my
your
10.
first meeting with your 10
We had, and funny, we had it at a bar because
at a bar.
At a bar.
Okay.
Huntsville is really big.
You said it really fast. I
Oh,
wanted
sorry,
people to
yes.
hear that.
And I
at a
have
bar.
that southern drawl, so I have to enunciate.
Yeah.
Huntsville is really big on like local brews. So there's a lot of like restaurants / breweries. So that's where we had our meeting.
So you had it at a restaurant, you mean?
At a restaurant that now likes to host drag shows. So
Really?
the irony in all of it is just like you just have to laugh. At least
Well-
they're adult. I mean, there's some age restrictions there. So
But
there's
they
that.
let you have a meeting there, which is
Yep.
impressive. So
Yeah.
they're open to
They
all
were at
things.
that point. I don't know if they would now, but that's okay. We got our meeting in. We had our meeting. We did all the check the boxes, had the bylaws approved and all that. And yeah, I mean, so that was the first meeting. Took pictures to document like we're official, like we are here in Alabama. We were super proud. So it was a funny start, but yeah, we just had the first meeting and kind of hit the ground running, trying to figure out like what is it that we're supposed to do? How do we engage? How do we educate ourselves first so then we can educate others? So
And so you didn't really know what to do necessarily in the beginning. So you packed your bags and you went to our national summit in
Yes,
Philadelphia. And
yes.
you're like, maybe they'll tell me
Yes,
in
exactly.
Philadelphia what to do.
Yes.
And
yes.
how was that experience for you?
It was unique because we're in Alabama and really our first year, we were just trying to figure out what we were doing, still trying to figure out what we're doing, to be quite honest. But we really just had no clue. We were just trying to educate ourselves. And then, like you say, went to Summit to just build relationships, ask people what they were doing and all that. We'd been really quiet. Nobody was really giving us any of attention. So we went to Philly and we're met with protesters. Everywhere we went, we were met with protesters, going from the hotel to the museum for the first, the opening reception, having to deal with protesters at that. And then I had my son with me, 8 years old, I think, at the time.
You did. So did you, for those that are watching that weren't in Philadelphia with us, the opening night was at the American History Museum of the American Revolution, Museum of the American Revolution. And there'd been protesters there for weeks before we even got there, telling them that they should cancel us and shut it down and kick us out. And the museum and all they held strong, and not because they were huge fans of Moms for Liberty, but they felt like it was the right thing to do because we had a signed contract. And so they hosted us still. But when we showed up on the buses from the hotel to be dropped off, you had to walk the gauntlet of thousands.
Yeah.
And I'm not over exaggerating, thousands of protesters screaming horrible things.
Videoing.
With megaphones out there and all kinds of signs. We've got photos of like lines of them just holding up the middle finger at us. And then riot gear police, Philly PD, lined shoulder to shoulder. And what you couldn't see in some of those photos, which honestly shocked me, that when we pulled in, we came from behind the building with the bus. And I don't know what bus you were on, but our bus came behind the building, and they had staged behind the building rows and rows of more Philly PD in riot gear with the big riot trucks or vans or whatever they are, all staged behind in case it was needed.
Oh, wow.
And so when I saw that, I was like, that was a little bit, it was hard to, it was shocking. It was hard to understand even. And that morning, actually, our security team came to us at the hotel to report that protesters had really attacked the museum the night before. And they spray painted over Washington crossing the Delaware. They smashed in windows.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first moment where I thought, who are these people that are like, this is not okay. And so you arrive from Alabama with your small chapter that has kind of gone unnoticed for almost a year. And you step into that.
Yeah.
With your 8-year-old son.
With my 8-year-old. Yeah. He loved it. He thought it was like, The greatest
loved
thing
it.
ever. Every time we do events now, he's like, "Oh, there are going to be protesters. I
Oh
want to be
my
there."
gosh.
The world's not ready for him. But it was very unnerving because it's one thing when I'm in danger, but I have my son and exposing him, and they're taking videos and pictures, and I have no idea what they're doing with that. So it was very unnerving. We went to the opening reception, and it was on steroids, dealing with all that, but it was, in hindsight, it was good for us knowing the rest of the story. It kind of helped us realize that it's not the end of the world that they're protesting. You just got to have security in place. Take it serious, but don't let it stop you. So it ended up being a good thing to be exposed to it in that setting, but it was very unnerving. But Summit, I mean, aside from the crazy protests, Summit was amazing, and I still remember James Lindsay talking about him. He's in here you're joyful warriors, and you're excited, and you're strategizing, and outside they're screaming at a building.
That was one of my favorite lines of all of Summit. That and
it was
one of
great.
Dennis Prager had a really good line that I won't repeat here. That was
It was
when they
good.
were
I know what
telling
you're
him.
talking about.
That was a good line.
It was awesome.
Yeah, but James Lindsay, like, just articulating, because we were in there feeling so uplifted and encouraged and fulfilled and hopeful, and he literally said they're out there yelling at a building.
Yeah.
And that's what they did for 3 days. They stood out there and yelled at the building. And so who's being more productive?
Right.
Well, we are.
Yeah.
And so it was with all of the drama, it was a very encouraging summit.
Yeah,
I would say.
It was very invigorating because I had no idea what to expect, but went and left energized and motivated and just unafraid,
Ready to take on the world.
ready to set it on fire.
I love it. And so we're going to take a 1-minute break and show you this little video, because our national summit this year is in Orlando, Florida, October 16th through the 19th. We just extended it one day due to popular requests.
Yay.
People wanted that Sunday morning session, which is usually a really special session. So 16th through the 19th, we're going to get ready to announce speakers soon. We've got
Yay.
some really great ones. And in Florida, it will not be like Philly. Of course, we take security seriously, but I doubt you're going to have thousands and thousands of protesters like downtown Philly. So we'll be back with you in just 1 minute.
Elena, what state are you from?
New York.
Hawaii.
I'm from Texas, Washington. I have my kids actually with me to do the march.
Wherever I go, odds are there is a Moms for Liberty group or a whole tribe in the room sounding off loud and proud.
And you could see the passion here because it's about supporting kids.
Pledge to each other that we will live like men and women who are determined to remain free.
I'm for parental rights all the way.
And welcome back to the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. And we've got Emily Jones, our chapter chair from Madison County, Alabama here. We were just discussing National Summit, which you just saw the video for. We hope you'll go to momsforliberty.org/summit25. Get your tickets now. It will sell out. It has sold out every year. And you will be uplifted and encouraged. Our theme this year is Our Future is Bright. I think we're on the lookout right now for some free giveaway sunglasses for the event. And so it should be a good time had by all. Emily has had quite a journey full of God winks, from the moment of reading Eric Metaxas's book, which I have not read, and now I want to go read, and feeling like this is her time to stand up and speak out. And I love how you said before the break that you were called for this time, like you were put on earth at this time for a reason. And that is something I feel also deeply about, and I'm grateful for. Right before this episode, we had a prayer, and I even said in the prayer, like, thank you for letting us live at this time, because I feel so grateful that we have the opportunity to stand at a time and to have the opportunity to speak for right or wrong. And so much throughout history has been kind of gray, and some of it's been kind of bland, I would say, or you don't have the opportunity to choose right or wrong because everything's just day to day.
Yeah.
But right now, today, like you have the opportunity to say, I'm going to stand for what is true and what is right, and I'm going to do it boldly. And so I feel greatly blessed to live at this time.
Yeah, same. It's an amazing opportunity. Yeah.
And so we have in our store early on, such a time as this, Esther 414 shirts. And our theme at Summit Saturday night is it's the Such a Time as This dinner gala, because many of our members at Moms for Liberty believe that this is the time to stand and that we've been placed to live at this time to do this work. And I think you embody that. And so I'm just excited to have this conversation with you.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
We need to have more of them all across the country.
I agree. Okay. So you leave National Summit in Philadelphia, energized, empowered, and now you go back to your chapter, which was kind of quiet. And what's the first thing you decide to do?
Literally within like a day of getting back, I registered to host a story hour with Brave Books. Like it was a simple little thing. Like it was just this, we had originally said we weren't going to do it. We were just busy. Summertime, moms. School in Alabama starts back the 1st of August. We start very early, and this event very much overlapped. So a million reasons not to do it, and we chose not to do it. But it was one of those things, got back and motivated, and there was just this nagging little voice that said, just do it. Just do it. Just do a small little event.
So Brave Books puts on annually in August a See You at the Library event. We have chapters before have signed up. We haven't really partnered with them historically on this. This year, we're taking, I think, a bigger role in really partnering with Brave Books, and I'm really excited about that. So you find out Brave Books is holding this event in August. They do them all around the country, and you can sign up, and you just take one of their books, one of their children's books that is just a normal children's storybook. I would say most of their books are, but they're free from radical ideologies. They're books that teach kids to love America and love who they are and just normal things. And so you decided as your chapter, which has about 10 members, maybe more, maybe a few more by now, I don't know, that you're going to just book a library room and go read one of these books and children can come and listen.
Yeah, very, very simple. I got the smallest room possible because in my mind, we needed a small room to make it look full.
Yeah, that's event planning 101, right? Get a room smaller than you need so that you're busting at the seams.
Yes, exactly. And the plan was really 20 people. Because like I said, we had already made a decision, like conscious choice not to do this. And then here I am going behind everybody and doing it anyways. So I told them, I'm like, really small, 20 people, like in and out in an hour, not a big deal. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. So everybody was on board, no pushback, no heartburn, nothing. So booked the event, got it registered with Brave Books, and recruited somebody that was going to handle the crafts and I think snacks. And she'd asked like, so what's the budget here? Which of course in my mind, I'm like, well, we have no money. So
who asked if you had a budget?
This volunteer in our group.
Okay. Oh, because you were going to do crafts. And she's like, who's going to pay for the crafts? Is your chapter going to fund this event? Right. And does your chapter have a bank account and all that yet?
We had a bank account. Okay. I think it probably had like $20 in it.
Okay.
Maybe I had a little more because we were charging membership dues. I don't know.
So how did you pay for the crafts and the snacks?
I paid for them.
Out of your pocket?
Okay. I can put $100 into it. So I told Sarah's her name. I said $100 crafts and snacks. Like that'll get us through it. Like that'll be fine. Because again, like 20 people, that's going to be like maybe 10 kids, maybe.
I think but I want to point out that you are using your own funds to put on this event because you're not the only chapter chair that has done that. We ask chapters to open a bank account and do some fundraising for their chapters, but really you guys are on your own and you're trying to do these events. And we had Jen Turner on a few episodes ago, and she dipped into her own pocket to host an event during the presidential primary to have a presidential candidate come and speak. And she, she's a single mom working 2 or 3 jobs at the time. And she did the same thing. Her chapter doesn't have any money. She doesn't really like to raise money. And so she used her own money to buy the snacks for the back of the room. And, that just breaks my heart often to hear of how much moms are sacrificing their time, their reputation. Sometimes they're getting attacked, and now even your own personal bank account. So you pull out your $100 and you get the lady to buy the snacks and the crafts. And then how does it go from there?
It was very quiet up until the event's on a Saturday. the Monday before. This was still when we did remote work. I was sitting at home working, checking email.
About a little less than a week out.
Yeah, 5 days, I guess. Yeah, so just, skimming emails in the middle of meetings because I'm bored, and I got this very weird email that said, great news about your event. And it's not, internal from one of my people. It's not from the library. It's this email from Brave. Like, I have no idea what this is. And I open it and it says, congratulations, you've been selected as a location for Kirk Cameron to visit during the story hour event on Saturday. And I'm supposed to be working. I'm in this meeting. And of course I just kind of hit mute and I text my friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to call you, but I can't call you for like how many ever minutes were left in the meeting. So I finally get on the meeting and I call her, and literally first thing I said was, I need you to sit down right now. And she's like, what is happening? Like, she's terrified. And I was like, Kirk Cameron is coming on Saturday.
Coming to Alabama.
Yes.
Mike Seaver is on his way.
Mike Seaver is on his way. Yes. So, I mean, I just found out via email. They did not call, nothing. It was just like, when you get around to reading email, here's the message.
Oh my heck. And it's
Yes.
like 6 days out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we have a tiny room for 20 people.
And no budget, because
And
you
no
have
budget.
$100 that you've donated out of your bank account for,
Yes.
5 waters and 3 cookies
Yes,
or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, that was kind of it. So we start going into like, what do we do now? Like, clearly the craft plan is not working. Like, so we're trying to brainstorm and figure all this out. So while we're, in mom mode fixing things, the library calls the executive director, and she said, hey, look, we saw the news, Kirk Cameron's coming. And I'm like, how did they know? Well, he had gone out and put everything out live, like on his website and social media and all that. So the library found out before I even had the opportunity to call them and give them the heads up. But it was fine. Like, they were super sweet. Like, she's now retired, but the executive director at that point was just like, you've booked this small room. We think that's not going to work. We're going to cancel the other event we had and give you the extra space.
Oh,
we're
that
going to
was
give
nice
you
of
AV.
them.
Yeah, like, super supportive. So it was great. And I think that was like maybe Monday evening, Tuesday, something like that. It was very early in the week.
So how big is the new room?
It held 225-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. So good size.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
still scary to try to have
Yeah.
225 people turn out to your event
Yes.
in about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Also, I've never been to a story hour reading. I have no idea what you do other than read a book.
You read a book.
Yeah.
You read a story, I guess.
My friend's like, no, you do a craft, you do all this. And I'm like, oh, like, I just thought you read a book and laughed. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had library on my side. It was great. And that was, like I said, Monday or Tuesday. And then I can't remember exactly because this was years ago and we've gone through so much. But at some point they call me back. The library calls back and they tell us that they've canceled us. We are no longer welcome to use the library. And I had some heads up from the Brave Books team because this happens everywhere. So I knew enough to know to ask questions and try to get everything documented. So this was Wednesday. They called and told me essentially, like, we're canceling you.
Did you have people registering for the event, or you just show up if you want to?
So we had people registering, but we did it very incorrectly. We used Eventbrite, which is a horrible idea.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will shut it down in an instance.
And we had crazy leftists getting on there and like booking 10 at a time under like weird names.
Yeah, we're really good at weeding those out at Moms for Liberty.
Yeah.
Lisa here, our event coordinator, she can spot those fakes a mile away.
Yeah. We've learned a lot since then. So we had like, several hundred sign up through Eventbrite. And of course the library people were saying, well, you can't hold that many. That's part of the issue. You've got capacity. You're a threat to the community because at this point we've got protesters coming. So now we've imposed a threat to the community because we're exceeding capacity. That means people are standing outside.
How would they
Protesters can
know
attack
how many
them.
you had registered?
I told them. They had asked.
Okay.
And again, not knowing any better, I told them. So yeah, I got a call from the chief of police who very politely told me, and I will never forget these words. He said to me, we can't stop protesters from being there because they have a right. It's public space. So because they're there, you can't be there because you're causing a crowd to come out. And
Oh
I
my
said,
goodness.
so I reserved a space and I went through the process and I'm indoors, but because I'm there, you can't make protesters leave. I have to leave. He said, well, go find a church.
Oh my goodness.
Go find a church and take it to private property. Yeah. Yeah. So very disheartening. We're in the middle of Alabama, very Republican or conservative state.
Also a major First Amendment problem.
Yes.
But, okay.
Yes. Yes. So like my blood is boiling. Like I am so mad. So I get off the phone and I call Brave Books and they loop in their attorney into the conversations at this point. And it was very funny. Like I'm just mad. And when I get mad, I just say stupid things. And the attorney just lets me speak. He lets me get it out of my system. And he's like, I need you to do me a favor. You can be stupid for Jesus, but don't be stupid in public. So it was awesome. Like I just laughed and I was like, okay,
I knew how to handle you.
Yes,
He's like,
he
oh,
did.
I've dealt with the Alabama woman
Yes.
before. I know what to say to her. That's great.
Yes, it was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, he walked through the process of this is where we are and this is where we're going to be. And we're going to file a letter. We're going to state this. We're going to state that. We're going to tell them that they will host us, or we're going to sue them for violating First Amendment right based on religious persecution. And it was not technically like a Moms for Liberty lawsuit, as you know, all this.
It's Brave Books, really.
It was Brave Books, but because I had registered it, like I, as an individual, was a part of like the complaint, I guess. So I became their point person locally, having to deal with all of this, which was, again, very odd because I've never been involved in politics. I couldn't even tell you who sat on
Never
city
been
council.
involved in a lawsuit before?
No, never threatened to sue over First
Welcome
Amendment
to
rights.
Moms for Liberty, Emily.
Right? Just in the fire. But yeah, I mean, so that happened, I think Thursday-ish morning for an event that's on Saturday. And then and they told them in the letter, like, you have till noon on Friday. If you do not back off this by noon on Friday, we're suing you. And that was it. Like everything
24 hours before the event.
Yeah.
So you still don't really know if it's happening or not happening.
Right. Yeah. Like in my mind, it was happening. Like we were going, and I had already told my friends, I'm like, we're going to be there. And if I get arrested, my son is with me. You got to take care of him. Like I was putting that plan in place.
Joyful warrior.
Yeah.
You got to be a joyful warrior. You don't want to get arrested.
Oh, it was crazy.
So how much of this now is tied to the book that you have read that tells you it's time to stand up, B, going to National Summit and experiencing kind of the first round, I would say, of what you're now in the middle of. How does that impact or influence how you're reacting to this whole scenario?
It was the strangest thing in the world. Normally, I get fired up very quickly. It was the calmest I've ever been in my life. Like I'm super anxious in general. Nope, slept like a baby, didn't stress about it. Like there was
the night before when you still don't really know.
From the moment we filed the lawsuit till it was over, like just complete peace about all of it. Because I just knew, like, well, this is the moment. We're here. Like God got us to this point. He'll get us through it. So why are you stressing? He's got this figured out. So it was very calm. My son and I would walk the neighborhood at night and I would jam out to some Jeremy Camp. And like, it was amazing. Like, it was very spiritual. It's the best way to describe it. It was just spiritual from beginning to end of just watching God's hand in motion every single day. Like I've never witnessed anything like it in my life and probably never will.
I would say that building Moms for Liberty and going through everything that we've gone through, I have experienced and felt the same type of scenario. And it's quite remarkable to be in the middle of a tornado, I would say, a Cat 5 hurricane, sometimes it feels like, and to feel that sense of peace and that sense of calm that what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
And that's where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And the things that come to your mind to keep you calm and peaceful. It's a very spiritual journey.
Yeah, it really is. So it's definitely fueled the fire. So, we get through that and my son's in the middle of it. Kids are in the middle of it. And it just, not that it hardened you, but you adjust. You just reassess.
I would say it matures you.
Yeah, that's a good word.
More than hardens, because you almost feel softer because you're more spiritually in tune to what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But it matures you in a way that you aren't overreacting, being responsive, freaking out, panicking, doing all those things. You're grounded in what you know is true.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place to be.
It really is.
So you're 24 hours out.
Yep.
You went from a room for 20 to a bigger room for 220-ish.
Yep.
To being canceled.
Yep.
To filing. Did you file the lawsuit got filed?
No.
Okay.
They backed off literally at about 11:50 before the deadline. They called and they had
said,
backed off.
okay, you can come. You've got the room for 220.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
So we have our event. Next morning, woke up and the event started, we'll say 10 o'clock. So, of course, get there at 8. We got to set up, all the things. And I very naively thought that getting there 2 hours in advance would be enough. I was wrong. My team got there a little bit before me, and one of the girls called, and she's like, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm on my way." And she's like, "It's chaos here. You need to hurry up." But no, we get there, and I mean, as we're driving to the library, you can see the cars parked. I mean, you can see it as you're approaching.
You can feel the energy of what's happening.
Yes. And it's me and my son. So, driving up, and I'm trying to prepare here. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. You've got to stay beside me. Do not wander off, because this is new. Like, we've been to it at Summit, but we're at a distance. This is literally walking through the middle of the line. So, try to walk him through it, pray as we go in, just ask for peace, calmness in the midst of it all. And then we pull in the parking lot and reality hits and look across, more or less like their campus. And there's people everywhere. There's men dressed in women's clothing, clearly just mocking the situation. And then there's bomb sniffing dogs.
Bomb sniffing dogs?
Bomb sniffing dogs at a story hour, where we're just talking about not even Christianity. We're just talking about, pride comes before the fall. Be humble and don't boast. I mean, it's a very simple message. But we have bomb sniffing dogs at a story event. Like, just surreal. So we park, get out of the car, and again, like my team, just immediately, they're there. We're trying to figure everything out and talking and kind of directing everybody. And I'm just kind of scanning the area and trying to see what's going on. And off to my left, right at the main doors to the library, is this probably 15-foot cross, like huge cross. This guy from, I think, Michigan had emailed during the week. He had emailed me 3 times, actually, because I couldn't keep up with email, and basically said, like, this is what I do. I travel the country.
He goes around to protest with a 15-foot cross.
He goes to where protesters are. Yes. Like, that's literally, he's like, this is my calling. This is what God gave me. Okay. So he's like, God tells me where to go. And I read your story and I knew this is where I was supposed to be. So we had literally exchanged one email, and then I see him off in the distance. So immediately just had to beeline to him and go talk to him and hug him. And, he prayed over us. I mean, it was just like we were old friends, but I'd never met the man in my life. So it was, again, just surreal as that's happening, seeing bomb sniffing dogs and men walking around in women's dresses and kids everywhere and hundreds of people. It was unreal. Like, my mind still cannot fathom how we got to that point, but
it is remarkable. So, how does this all work out? You go in, are you able to have story hour? Is it successful? Where do the hundreds of people go? You can only fit 225. Yes. Well, actually, you know what? This would be a good time for a break because, as I had mentioned, this See You at the Library event is annually. It's coming up this year on August 16th, being put on by Brave Books. Our chapters have decided they would like to partner with them, lots of our chapters, and they're signing up to host these See You at the Library events all across the country, all to be held on August 16th. And we've got a quick video here to share with you from Kirk Cameron talking about the events if you would like to join too.
Okay. In a world this summer. Okay, ready? On August 16th, you're invited to be a part of a national movement to revive our culture, to reawaken the heart of our nation, and to strengthen the conviction of our children. It's called See You at the Library. It's a nationwide day when hundreds of thousands of families gather at local libraries, read stories that reflect timeless values, and pray for our children and our country. At a time when truth is being challenged and families feel under pressure, this is a chance to stand together. Invite your neighbors, rally your church. Let's show up boldly in our biggest numbers yet. Find out how to get involved, and I'll see you at the library.
「
See you at the library.
「 Library. 」 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 "" 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 " 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 Library.
Welcome back to the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich with Moms for Liberty, and this is Emily Jones, our chapter chair in Madison County, Alabama, unfolding the story for us about her See You at the Library event that she held in Madison County, Alabama, which 5 days prior, she gets a message from Brave Books that Kirk Cameron is going to show up, and she had a 20-person event planned with a craft and some snacks for the kids. And it turned into hundreds and hundreds of people, protesters, bomb sniffing dogs. If you're going to hold a See You at the Library event this year on August 16th, you can go to seeyouatthelibrary.com and sign up to host one. You probably won't have hundreds of protesters and bomb sniffing dogs,
Only
but
if you're lucky.
yeah, only if you're lucky. So we kind of want to wrap this story up. Tell us, how the event went. Was it successful? Are you glad you did it? All of those things.
So we filled the library room with the 225, whatever it was, and then had overflowed a local church that had come through kind of last minute. They had about 400 people there. So
oh my gosh,
our 20-something event turned into about 600 people. And
holy cow.
That's minus protesters. But we did get into the library. We held our event. The library staff were very sweet, and they decided that in the middle of August in Alabama, literally the heat index that day was over 100. They cut off the AC in the room. So it was very
I'm sure
hot.
that was a complete coincidence.
Total coincidence. And I'm very cold natured. So it took a really long time for me to register that it was hot in the room. But I was literally sweating at one point.
It's interesting because we opened this whole episode talking about my year in Alabama and how it's the hottest place on earth.
Yes.
And so so you're in there with 200 and something people in that room with no air conditioning in August.
Yes. And lots of kids, and we're trying to entertain them because Kirk was there late. So we're singing and dancing and all the movement. And then you've got parents in the far back. They're like fanning and sweating. Yeah. But I mean, it didn't matter. It was just the community was so excited to be there. One, because it was Kirk and Riley. I mean, because Riley Gaines also came.
Oh, so at some point, Riley Gaines decides to show up too.
Yes,
okay.
They sent the email about Kirk, and I stopped reading. At the bottom of the email, it said Riley Gaines, and I totally missed it. So she was there too. But like everybody was just excited that we had these people in our community that really and truly, like, we stood up to this government overreach of telling us we couldn't do something. And it was the first time that really anything like that had happened. Most people are just kind of what I say, fat, dumb, and happy. They don't realize what's happening because there's never been a push to do something outside the norm. So, and it was an amazing event. I mean, it truly was. And it sparked our chapter. It really put us on the map, and we've never backed down since. We just kept on going.
So you're glad you did it?
Oh, we've done it every year since, and we'll keep doing it.
Any regrets?
No, none.
So you're doing it again this year. You're registered at your same library?
Well, that's the fun thing. Our library is conveniently busy every time I try to book it. So
they now are probably they look and see when the See You at the Library events are, and they make sure that it's scheduled out so they don't have
every weekend in August last year and this year were booked before we could ever get there.
I wonder how far about can you book for 2 years out?
I know, right? They only let you do it 6 months. I've tried.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're coming up with alternate plans. It's okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, good for you for continuing to do it, but shame on them.
Yep.
For for playing games, which we're used to at Moms for Liberty, and it doesn't slow us down. It doesn't stop us. We just keep going forward.
We just get craftier and come up with different ways. It works.
And so since then, you have, you've just, gosh, the things you have done. Moving into the legislative arena, you held, now that you're a super expert event planner.
Yes, learned a lot.
You held a town hall, I think shortly after that, or, within the next 6 months or so, you decided to put together a town hall. You want to tell us about that and the impact of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, Title IX was a huge issue for Moms for Liberty, nationally, and then every single one of our chapters. And again, in Alabama, we had good laws around Title IX that keeps boys out of girls' sports and all of that. So Title IX was very different for us versus some of these other states where they were having this battle already. So it was trying to educate parents that this rewrite under the Biden administration overrides these state laws, and it puts gender ideology all the way down to pre-K. So it was educating parents on all of the things that this now meant to their school that they thought was safe. And we had the AG there. We had two of them, which he was a part of. And he talked about the lawsuit that Alabama filed, but also filed for several other states. I think Florida was a part of ours. But he talked about what we're doing as a state to push back, legally to stop this from being implemented. And then we had state legislators that were there talking about legislation they were filing to further, support the structure we had in Alabama legally, to have laws on the books that this would violate. So
I'm so impressed. You go from not voting in 2016, voting for Obama in 2012, not voting in 2016, apolitical for the most part, to starting a Moms for Liberty chapter, to now almost being an expert in your state on Title IX and what is happening and the laws that are being violated. When you watch the progression and see what you've gone through from the moment of reading that book, saying, I need to stand, and then realizing, not even knowing at that time what you need to stand for.
Right.
I would think I could say that even about Moms for Liberty, knowing that we were going to defend parental rights, but not foreseeing how badly we were going to have to, or how boldly we were going to have to defend parental rights, and how every time we have a win, like, you get punched back again with some other massive, insane intrusion on parental rights. And so I feel like that's kind of similar in your path of what was happening to you. So now you realize we've got to stand against boys and girls sports. Like, this is being completely violated by the Biden administration. And you put together a town hall with your attorney general. I mean, that's very impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, they were great. We had the two that he was at, we had over 200 people show up, protesters as well. We learned a few things.
Now you know how to deal with protesters.
Yes.
And by now, do you know how to deal with the people that register for your events with fake names?
That's the fun thing. We didn't make them register.
Oh, people could just show up.
They could just show up. Now, that's not the case anymore for our events. But at that point in time, it's just, you can come in, and I think it was the first one we had with them. We had a group come in. There's a group, the Socialist of America, Democratic Socialist of America.
They were in Philadelphia, and the Young Communists. They also protested us.
Well, there's a Birmingham chapter. I've learned so much about our opposition. But they came to the first town hall, and they had, because we had not the policy, like the facts about Title IX. So they found ours, and then they created their version. So they were handing them out in the room that we had reserved. So I went up to this kid, and I said, kid, I mean, he was 20. And I was like, you can't pass that out in here. And he's like, well, it's free speech. And I said, no. This room belongs to me. I get to set the rules. If you want to share that, you have to go outside our room. So he goes like 5 feet outside the room and starts passing them out. And then somebody complained. I'm like, he can do it from there, but he's not handing it out in this room. So
I love that you know your rights at this point.
It's like,
great.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I have to argue with police about it sometimes. I'm like, no, this is the law. This is what you're going to do. And they're like, oh, okay. It terrifies them at times. But yeah, we had protesters at that. And I mean, it was fine. Like, we were able to kind of have that, not conversation, but they sat and listened. And then we took questions. They did them on index cards, and we collected them because no open mics, but read off several of their questions. And it was interesting because afterwards, one of the guys actually approached one of the people on our team and said, like, I didn't expect you to read any of our questions. Like, thank you for doing that. And, we explained to him, it's not about silencing you, but this is our event. We will ensure that we're getting our point across, but that doesn't mean that you can't ask the odd questions. So it ended up being really good, and we had some beneficial conversations out of it.
I love that. And that's what our Giving a Parents a Voice town halls are. We do those around the country. It's the same premise. Like, we are here to present some information and educate the community, because that's what Moms for Liberty does. We unify, educate, and empower parents. And so the town halls and the event that you did is to educate. We have open mics at our Giving Parents a Voice, and I love moderating those. People come up and ask the hard questions. Sometimes they're a little jerky, but usually there's a question in there, and then the panels address it. And I've had people come after those all the time and say, thank you. Thank you for hosting this, for allowing us to be heard too. And I'm like, let's reciprocate.
Right. Exactly.
Why are we always silenced? And so I think it's a show of goodwill on our part, and I hope to see that grow. We've got some things in the works, by the way, even at Summit this year, where we may have an addition, something new we're doing this year.
Exciting.
To bring in some more open dialogue between opposing sides. So I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And so, and then, we could kind of wind this down talking about, you just had an event recently, and I haven't talked to you about this at all yet. I saw it in Google Alerts. that
funny.
that I don't know, you were getting attacked again, that you had an event with a very controversial person,
Yes.
and there was so just tell us about this most
Yes.
recent thing that you've done.
Yes, so we did our annual, we call it Such a Time as This fundraising dinner. And we had Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene come.
Fundraising dinner. So now you have
Yes,
more than
we
$20 in
do.
your account.
We have
That's
more than 20 and it's not mine. So it's great.
excellent.
But yes, this is the second year. Last year we had Riley Gaines. This year we had MTG come. And we knew she was controversial. I mean, it's part of what draws us to her because she's so unafraid. She will fight tooth and nail for what she believes in. And so much of what she fights for aligns with our mission. So we ran into her. I shouldn't say we ran into her. We went and door knocked during the presidential campaign, saw her there and invited her. So this was like 8 months of work that finally came together for this event. And of course, we knew that people would dislike it, but they protested. We knew they were going to. They're very organized in our area, which is fascinating. But she came, like she agreed to come, and again, like preparing for everything. We have security in place. I mean, it's a sitting congresswoman, and then our local congressman came as well. So we're working with law enforcement on all of it, working with her team on law on security. And then it was about 2 or 3 days before the event. I get a call from the sheriff who's out of town, but he calls to tell me that there's been an incident.
Emily, it's the sheriff again.
Yes.
Did you know
Hey,
the sheriff
Emily.
before Moms for Liberty?
Nope. And now I have his cell phone number, and like he's running for re-election. So we now have campaign conversations. So it's the world we're now in.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, there's been an incident. Just want to let you know, like, this is how we're changing security measures. And I said, and he's on vacation. He's at the beach. And I was like, you're 5 hours away from me. I'm 10 minutes from the venue. What in the world happened that I don't know about? So he walks me through all of it. And basically they had vandalized. It's more of the general area of where our facility was for the event. They had written hang those crackers.
Oh my goodness.
MTG plus M4L. And then there was another one I can't remember, but because it was directed at MTG and there was a death threat to it, we had to deal with a whole nother level of security from her team because she's a sitting congresswoman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had to put...
Were you scared?
No, I laughed. I shouldn't say that on air. But no, it was just one of those things of like, okay. So, I mean, we went from bomb sniffing dogs to now death threats, but I don't, there's just something about it that is kind of odd to me because the group that's protesting, you know, I watch them closely. They're, knock on wood, they're nonviolent. Like they get angry and they yell, but that's about it. So I don't know. It just kind of seems weird to me, but no, never scared. And like I said, I have a great relationship with the sheriff and his team. So he said, I've given them the word.
Yeah.
Keep this safe. And they're going to. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, I love that you're sharing these stories, but I do want to tell people that most of our chapters don't experience this level of attacks.
Yeah. And we're in Alabama. So it's really weird that we do.
It really is. You
Yeah.
would think, I mean, it's a red state.
Yeah.
Is it a red county?
Purplish
county.
Yeah, we're Huntsville. So we've got FBI moving in, Space Force, like all those things you see in the news.
Yeah.
That's all our area. So it's more purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's wind this down a little bit. Maybe talking about your son, if you don't mind.
Yeah. He is obviously the reason I fight.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Yes. Like most of us.
What does he think about all this?
He is oblivious to it. It's normal. Like that's really what it is. It's normal. So he didn't go to the dinner because, well, it's a dinner and he would be bored. But also the protesters were there. I'm busy, like all the things. So I had told him, like, you're going to be at so-and-so's place. Like, you're not going. And I told him about the protesters. And he's like, I want to go see the protesters. Like, that excites him, which terrifies me that he's this normal. It's normal to him.
My son at the Philadelphia one a couple times we were like, where's William? He's a little bit older. He's 17 now. So he'd have been 14, 15. He was outside watching the protesters. Every time we couldn't find him,
funny.
like he would be up under next to the hotel, but just fascinated by watching the protesters.
It is fascinating. Yeah, it really is. I can understand how they get to that point, but no, I mean, he thinks it's normal, and it's funny because he's little, but he's such an activist. So he'll come home and tell me like, Mom, I saw such and such on somebody's computer at school, or this happened. We've not talked about social emotional learning in schools, but major issue. It's for me personally, I'm very much against it. But he'll come home and tell me, like, this is what happened at school. So, like, he's educated in a way that I never could have imagined at his age. But he recognizes what's not right and that he needs to tell me so that we can fix it.
What does he think about the work you're doing?
He loves it, but also he hates it at times because he's constantly being drugged to meetings. He wants to stay home and play.
Does he feel it at school? Like, is he ever attacked by his friends or his teachers for the work that you're doing? Has he
So
been?
far, not. I have suspicions about one friend that's a little distant. Not that they're ugly to him, but other than that, no, we've never had issues that I'm aware of. So most of his teachers have been quietly supportive. You know, they'll make the comments of, "So glad you're doing what you're doing." So
Yeah, I find that in the grocery store, even
Yeah.
when I was on the school board, and it seemed like the whole community was against me on something I'd
Yeah.
run into at a teacher or a principal, and they would just, thank you
Yeah.
so much, and just keep moving because they don't really have a voice
Yeah.
in what they're doing. And
Yeah,
so you are
exactly.
their voice, and you're the voice for your son.
Yes.
And so what would you say to chapter leaders right now that are feeling maybe a little timid or wore out or anxious or scared?
Keep going. It's uncomfortable. Like, it really is. I've been there, and the best thing to do is just to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So just keep going. Find your motivating factor in there. For me, it was the Eric Metaxas book. So go read the book.
Go read that book or go read a book.
Go read that book. That will help. If not, then I don't know. Find one that works for you, but find your fire. Don't let anybody put it out. That's what I always say. The book lit a fire that the devil himself can never put out. And he can't.
So Alabama. That sounds like I lived there a year. I know what those Alabama isms sound like. And
It is definitely one.
even the devil can't put it out. I love it. Okay. Well, and let's just close with, we call ourselves joyful warriors. I would say that you have come through all of this very joyfully, and you've been through some rough stuff as a chapter chair. So what does that mean to you to be a joyful warrior?
I think it just means fighting when no one else will. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't feel necessary, just leaning in and doing it, knowing God put you there for a purpose. And if he put you there, there's nothing to fear.
Emily, I believe you are called for such a time as this. We are so grateful to have you leading your chapter in Moms for Liberty and as part of Moms for Liberty. I think it's been 3 years for you now. And so we're grateful you came all the way down to Florida to come be on the Fire of Liberty show. And we want to thank all of you for joining us today. This is the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. This is Emily Jones. She's our chapter chair from Madison County, Alabama. We hope to see you all at the library on August 16th. You can go to seeyouatthelibrary.com and sign up to host a storybook hour in your local library or community. Please visit momsforliberty.org and join or start a chapter today. Follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify, anywhere you watch your podcasts. Give us some 5 stars. Give us 5 stars and leave a great comment. Until next week, we'll see you again.